Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Chase. As for most of us, we're in the military. As for myself, I'm in the United States Air Force. I carry weapons on a daily basis as a security force member, and I am trained on how to carry these weapons. Today I'll be covering handguns with you on weapon safety. Today I'll be using the Springfield Armory XD 40 cal tactical version. First thing you want to do when you pick up your weapon is you want to know how to carry or hold your weapon. So you want to remember to keep your weapon level and downrange. When I say level, I mean you want your barrel parallel with the ground, and you want your weapon pointed away from you. If I give you one statement to remember, it's to do not aim at anything you're not willing to shoot or kill. So, first step in picking up your weapon is knowing how to handle it. Second step is clearing it out. To clear this weapon out, you have a magazine release button on the side here located right behind the trigger. You have to depress that button and your magazine will fall right out. Second step is locking the slide trigger to check your chamber. To do this, you have a slide release button or slide lock button, and all you do is you press this up, place the slide all the way to the rear, and you depress that lever, and from here you want to visibly check your magazine well and your chamber. To do this, just look, make sure there's not a magazine in the weapon, make sure there's not a round in the chamber. Now your weapon is clear and you visually inspected it. Now that you know how to clear your weapon and properly handle it, we're going to cover loading. To load a magazine, first you must have a magazine and bullets. Put these two together. All you have to do is you depress the round that you have in there, push down, and load your bullets. Now you have a loaded magazine. Now we're going to cover loading your actual weapon. To load your weapon, there's two different ways to do it. The preferred way is to load your weapon with the slide to the rear. To do this, you take your magazine, you place it inside the gun, make sure it's firmly seated, and all you have to do is release your slide release button, and your weapon is ready to load. And from here you can place your weapon in your holster, or you can continue to fire or begin to fire. From here, the weapon is loaded again, so we're going to clear it out. Release the magazine, lock the slide to the rear, if you have a round in the chamber, catch it, place it off the side. Now we can cover the second and not preferred way, but it is the way to load. If your slide is forward, all you have to do is take the magazine, place it in the weapon, make sure it's firmly locked in place, and bring the slide back, let it go forward. From here you have a loaded weapon. Again, you can place it in your holster or continue to fire. Again, we have to clear the weapon out, drop the magazine, bring the slide back to the rear. Now that we have a loaded weapon, you know how to handle your weapon, you know how to safely clear the weapon if you have to. Now we got to cover firing. There's two characteristics that I want to cover. There's breathing and trigger squeeze. The first one is breathing. Now you have a loaded weapon, you've already loaded it, so you're ready to fire. When you're breathing, your weapon is moving slowly. Probably can't see it, but it is moving. And I suggest when you're firing to fire at the bottom of your breath. That means you're going to take a breath in, a breath out, a breath in, a breath out. At the bottom of your breath, it's when your air is completely out of your lungs. If you remember to do that every time, your shot will remain the same every time. Now we have trigger squeeze. With trigger squeeze, you want to remember to use the tip of your finger or the pad of your finger, and do not wrap your finger all the way around the trigger. There's no point in it. All you have to do is touch the pad of your finger to the trigger and slowly pull back until the weapon fires. If you can remember this every time, to pull back evenly every time, your shot group will remain the same. Another thing that I like to cover is anticipating your shot. People anticipate their shot, they adjust for the shot before they actually fire the weapon. If you can remember just to pull back and let the weapon fire itself, and you just hold the gun and take the recoil with your hands. When you're holding the weapon, you want to make sure to extend your arm out and place your hand on the bottom of the magazine, whichever you feel comfortable, and then give you this, the arm you're holding with your weapon, give that a little bit of slack to take the recoil when you're firing the weapon. And this is your support hand. You want to place your thumbs and fire the weapon. Remember breathing and trigger squeeze. Now this weapon is a single action weapon. Single action means that the trigger squeeze remains the same at all times. Some weapons have a double action, which means that they have an external hammer, which means when they pull the trigger the first time, the hammer must go all the way back and then slam forward. After that first trigger squeeze, the weapon goes into single action, where the hammer remains back at all times. There are many different techniques that people use when firing a weapon. If you can remember these simple techniques, you will increase your shooting skills and your weapons knowledge. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy.